Lane Thomas goes 2-for-4 with 2 doubles and a walk. Meanwhile, Trevor Rogers loses the game for the Orioles. I think we can all agree Guardians won the trade deadline.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the show today. This episode is brought to you by no, it's not, by FanDuel. Sorry about that, FanDuel. Make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer's FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
On today's show, the Guardians bats come alive against the Orioles to start a big series. We'll get into that. Tanner Bibee is not going to start in the series. We'll get into that as well. We will talk about how fast Travis Bazzana needs to move in order to be up in September. We'll also talk about some prospects who've been cut recently and maybe some who we hope are promoted. And we'll also get into some draft review stuff as well. Big show today.
Very big show. I want to thank you all for joining us on this very big show today. For those who do not know me, I'm Jeff Ellis, one of the 2 hosts here on Locked On Guardians, one of the original hosts. I do want to take a quick, well, actually, we'll have to wait till after the break for me to shout out on every dare because I like to close tabs. There's one thing to know about me. It's I love to close tabs, and
Jeff
I do it to the detriment of this show. So instead, I have Jeff Ellis, one of your 2 co-hosts, as I stated. Before this, I was a lead draft and prospect analyst at Scout in 24/7. And before that, I was your 11th favorite blogger at every Cleveland sports blog that has or will exist.
11. All right. Let's see what that is on Monday. I'm Justin Ladd, the other co-host. I have been covering Guardians prospects since 2007. You have read me at places, hopefully, since like Guardians Baseball Insider, the News Herald, the Morning Journal, and occasionally Prospects Live, where I used to write about some of the Orioles prospects and the Guardians prospects. None of them were Lane Thomas, though, who has transformed the Guardians offense in just one game. I think we
against
can agree
lefties, it's legit.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest there. That's what he's going to do. I mean, not like every game, but like.
Yeah, I mean, he's already worth 0.1 wins, 201 WRC plus in 2 games played. So things are looking up for the Guardians offense. No, he was good. The whole offense was good against Baltimore. You can bet that the Marlins are probably like, yeah, someone took Trevor Rogers for something. We got people back. He was not. I mean, remember he was like a hot name like 2 years ago. There were a lot of Guardians fans who wanted to trade for Trevor Rogers.
I was not big in his draft class. He was one of those guys. Like if people want to be like, why were you low on Cash Mayfield? It's like, yeah, because Trevor Rogers. Now Trevor Rogers, Cash Mayfield turned 19 in February. Trevor Rogers turned like 20 in like September. Like he was a super senior as a high school kid, and like he had 2 kind of nasty pitches, but he didn't play against the best competition. So I thought I was going to have to eat crow after that 1 year, and then since then, well, not so much. The cost to get him was exorbitant as well. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, there was nobody the Orioles gave up that I was like, oh, that's too much. But I mean,
there was Connor Norby. You and I both like
Connor Norby was pretty good. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So I guess it was Matt Horvath, and I forget who the third one was, but I wasn't a big Matt Horvath guy.
The Eflin trade wasn't the Eflin trade was the Horvath one that wasn't as fun. But like this is Connor Norby. Right. This is Connor Norby, and then like I think both prospects in this deal were better than anyone they gave up for Eflin.
Well, the Guardians didn't seem to care because they had a great time against Trevor Rogers in his Baltimore debut. He walked 3, gave up 5, took the loss on 6 hits. The Guardians, Lane Thomas came in hot. I mean, 3 balls he hit today on Thursday were over 100 miles an hour. It was 105, 105, and 110. And the one that didn't go for a hit with a runners on, which was the second to last batter that Trevor Rogers faced, was a line out to right field. So it easily could have been a hit because it was scorched. And then Jose Ramirez had a home run and a double. Could have had 2 home runs, really. Could have had 3 because the 2 balls he hit the center field would have been home runs to left field. So Jose Ramirez, we know he's had a great year against lefties. This lineup is just, they're geared up for lefties. David Fry is back. I mean, I don't say he's back, but he had his first home run since May 31st. He also had 3 strikeouts. He went 1 for 5 with a home run and 3 strikeouts. So it wasn't a great day for David Fry, but it was a good day for David Fry. And but this lineup is loaded up against lefties. I mean, Lane Thomas Jose hits lefties great. David Fry, John Kenzie Noel, like they are ready to battle any lefty that's thrown at them. And
yeah, you almost want to face lefties now. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is. But I will say, for all the people out there who thought Lane Thomas was a platoon bat, one of his doubles tonight came off of a right-handed pitcher, and it was like, was it the hardest hit ball of the night for him? I have to look. I think it was no, that was the one that was not as hard hit, but it was a double nonetheless. So Lane Thomas, not a platoon bat. As Jeff said.
No, because again, at the worst case, he has been at least as good as the other guys out there. But and if he's going to be at least as good as them, I mean, then he is, similar. He's not a great defender. I already have to eat crow there. He was fine at center today. I got to dig into the deep numbers and see if it's like, is it coming in? Is it going out? Is there an area where he particularly struggles? Maybe it's just health, but he's going to be at least as good as what they had defensively. He's at least as good as what they had as a hitter, but his speed is worlds better. And you got to see that on Jose's home run. If you were watching the game, you could tell that the pitcher, was focused back, was afraid of Thomas with the big lead, because even though he leads the league in caught stealing, dude's fast, incredibly fast. And when you aren't giving Jose Ramirez your full attention, he'll make you pay.
Yeah, definitely Tim Misney. And by the way, I mean, he had everything tonight. It wasn't just fastballs. He lined out in the fastball that was, again, had an expected batting average of 730. Double was off a slider. The other double was off a fastball. That's the other thing, though. He is going to see good pitches in front of Jose Ramirez. We've said this before. Like, there were situations too. It was great. Like when he doubled, it was like, all right, well, now he's on base. You don't want to put Jose Ramirez on. And I think there was 2 on for him with Jose Ramirez behind him, and that was the line out, I think, with the bases loaded, maybe. I think it was after Rocchio walked. But, nobody wants – they're going to want to make sure they get Thomas out because they don't want somebody on base for Jose Ramirez, because then it takes away the ability to pitch around him. And really, that should even trickle up to help Steven Kwan. Like, Steven Kwan's your leadoff hitter, but I think if people don't want to put Thomas on for Jose, you certainly don't want to have Thomas on or Kwan on for Thomas. So it kind of works both ways. Kwan already got on, and then Thomas doubled him to third, and then, Jose had the sac fly. But you're 1, 2, 3 right now. It's, they were moving around guys. Like Daniel Sheeman was in that spot. They tried Angel Martinez. They've been moving, Tyler Freeman. They've been moving guys up and down that number 2 spot most of the year, trying to find some stability. And I think Lane Thomas is the guy. And now your 1 through 4 is pretty productive. And then, David Fry against lefties hitting 5th. They'll have to figure out a number 5 hitter. Maybe it'll be Noel. Maybe it'll be Andre Jimenez some days. Maybe you'll still see Kyle Manzardo at some point. I don't know. There's still some things to figure out 5 through 9, and Bo Naylor had the home run tonight. That was really good to see. I thought some of his at-bats were better tonight on Thursday. You'd like to see more from him. And then, Brian Rocchio had the double and the walk, which is good. But, I mean, any offense from him is just kind of found money. But they're going to need to figure something out 5, 6, 7 between Jimenez, Fry, Noel, maybe Manzardo, maybe something else. I don't know. But your top 4 seems pretty good. And you're not going to be able to pitch around all of them, right, in the playoffs. Like, you can pick and choose your battles, and maybe the bottom half of your lineup is a little bit soft, but you have to pick your battles from the top 4, and at least that gives you a chance. And those are the guys that are going to get most of your bats anyway. Yeah, and
it, like you said, against lefties, I really hope we will see less of Fry against righties at some point. Like, because we need him to get back to what he was against lefties. I know he had the home run today. Right? Didn't he have a home run, or is that in my mind?
Fry had a big home run. It was his first home run since May 31st. Yeah.
And that was the thing. It's like, I think letting him just do what he's a platoon bat. He is, he's what people were trying to say Lane Thomas is. He is the Rayburn, the Luplo of this generation. Like, just let him be that guy.
But a more versatile defender.
Yes, a much more versatile defender. But I think, when he moved in that full-time role, he has not been the same guy. Like, it has not worked, and he's been a lot less productive against lefties and righties. I think pulling back is something that can help, find some value for him. And because, again, I mean, right now they set up where This is like the Oakland A's of the Moneyball era. Like, we're going to go bad defense in the outfield because defense doesn't matter, and we are going to slug you to death. And maybe the most encouraging, I'm labeled as a Noel hater, so I'll give him credit. Like, that walk was a very encouraging at bat. Like, that's what he needs to do more of. Now, his first at bat, they didn't throw him a single pitch in the zone, and that's what's going to happen. But then the rebound, I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain it, but like, you have just a deadly lineup right now against lefties, which are words I never thought I'd say because of, the guys who are already good, the additions, but you just need everyone to kind of get back on track. We saw most of them get there. And, like I said, for Fry and Naylor having those big home runs, I just keep hoping we're going to see both of them kind of turn the corner in terms of recent production versus overall.
Yeah, the offense has been getting better. I mean, they hit some home runs at the end of the series against Philly. They had some fun in Detroit in game 1, so that was good. And then you have this good game against Baltimore. By the way, I know Baltimore is starting Trevor Rogers, and he's not great, but you went out and you crushed the next best team to you in the American League. So there's no, the Guardians are beating up on bad teams and they're not playing well against, good competition. Nope. This is now win number 4 of 5 against Baltimore, and all they have to do is win one more game to clinch the season series against them, which will give them the tiebreaker. They have 2 games on Baltimore now for best record in the American League. They have a full game now on Philadelphia for the best record in baseball. Guys, it's August 2nd, and we're still talking about the Guardians, the best record in baseball, and you haven't had Shane Bieber since April. You haven't even had a rotation that doesn't have like
Tristan McKenzie imploded.
Yeah. He went full yips. And we didn't even talk about Ben Lively, who, by the way,
another one.
He had a great he gave a run in the first inning, gave a home run to Anthony Santander, which was a missile. My goodness, I've never seen a ball get out so fast. But he pitched great. He got better as the game went on, and they even pushed him into the 6th inning, and he did good there. Third time against the order.
Did well.
He did well. Yeah, it was a good job for Ben Lively. Honestly, like,
no, I'm just being a jerk. I was just being a
Baltimore's got a great lineup, and
I was being a grammar jerk before someone did it in the comments. That's all. That was me being the grammar jerk.
So credit to Ben Lively. Kate Smith came in, was good.
I mean, Ben Lively might be the story of this year when we get down and write it all out. Like, I mean, he has saved this team, and they have 3 more years of team control. I want to say maybe 4 more years of team control. That's the crazy thing. Like, it was a 1-year contract, but he's still in his arbitration year. So
he is.
Ben Lively is here to stay.
He is going to get some money this offseason. Good for Ben Lively. It's been a long road for him. By the way, also uses Yellow Submarine as his warm-up song. I really want to, I know Zach's supposed to do a piece on him for The Athletic. I really want to know what went into I want to know what went into the choice of Yellow Submarine. So Zach, I don't know if Zach's listening, but if you are, I want to know what went into Yellow Submarine, because I love that song. I love the Beatles, and that's a very fun choice. All right, speaking of fun, well, not so fun. Tanner Bibee is going to miss the start this weekend. We'll get into that, and then we'll get back into fun stuff. We'll talk about how fast does Travis Bazzana need to move through the system to have a chance at a September call-up. So stick around for that.
But first, let's talk about the good friends and folks over at FanDuel. And I didn't close my tab this time. I love sports. I mean, of course I do. I'm doing this podcast. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down and we get fewer games in other sports, we still have tons and tons in baseball. And the sports aren't sportsing like many of you want them. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or daily bonus. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day, all summer long. So head to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. I'm going to go and look and see what's going on there real quickly. Anything interesting? We've been watching the Olympics heavily in my house. My kiddo loves to watch the gymnastics. Gymnastics is mostly done. How about golf? Scotty Scheffler and Kelly Korda winning at plus 2,200. So not your best odds there. But head over to FanDuel for yourself. Check it out. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Get supplies for a site that's made for skilled traders. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros and skilled trades can get a competitive advantage by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Masters program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com.
Check out game 2 of this Guardians and Orioles series on your Sirius XM app. I believe Friday is actually a 7:10 start instead of 6:40. So make sure you're on there to listen to, even get on early, listen to the pregame. Tom Hamilton and Jim Rosenhaus always have good pregame bites from Stephen Vogt. So you want to check that out. Search Guardians on your app.
Real quick interruption. That shout out is to Zephyr Doyen 6926. One of those people who went out to see Travis Bazzana today. He went out on Saturday. He must have been last Saturday. He went out and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But shout out to one of our everydayers there.
Yeah, some people were not happy he didn't play on Thursday. He is not playing back-to-back Shet, guys. So I would expect on Friday, and I think you might see, well, I don't know. It might rain Friday, so we'll see what happens. But I would think that you might see him do some back-to-back over the weekend if you're looking to get out and see Travis Bazzana. Before we get into Travis Bazzana, all right, Tanner Bibee, he is not going to make his scheduled start Saturday. He's got some soreness in his throwing shoulder.
Surgery. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I can't do it. No, can't do it. Can't imagine that sentence. It's not soreness. I'm sorry. It's tightness in the shoulder. There's just, I don't know. It's a very loose description of what's happening. But generally, it doesn't seem like anybody is super concerned. They're hoping he'll be able to make a start early next week. It's just one of those things that they are taking precaution of, and they don't want to have him pitch through anything he doesn't need to, because let's face it, Tanner Bibee is probably one of the most, if not the most important guy in the postseason for them outside of the bullpen crew, because they need him to be their game 1 starter when it gets here to October. So getting him there, and honestly, it does, obviously it's never good to miss a start, but you'd rather have him not pitch through it and be right when the right time comes along. You've got a little bit of cushion to do it right now, especially with Minnesota coming up next week. And, maybe a start missed here means he's got a few extra bullets left at the end of the year. And then he's also not facing Baltimore again. So maybe that's one less time for Baltimore to see him. I don't know. Game theory, whatever you want to call it. But doesn't seem like a big concern right now. So I wouldn't be hitting the panic button on anything Tanner Bibee related. I would definitely be hitting, no, there's no panic button. I'm hoping it's the
speed button,
the Staples easy button. Remember the Staples easy button? That was fun.
You remember that?
How fast Travis Bazzana gets through the minor leagues. He's got a horrendous 38% strikeout rate at Lake County because he struck out 5 times.
Because he's a bum. Clearly a bum. Cut him.
Plate appearance.
Cut him.
Yes, this was a bust of a pick. So I was doing some kind of, I was doing math, which is never good when I do math because we know I don't know math. But I was kind of wondering, like, okay, how fast does he need to get through the minor leagues to get to Cleveland this year? Even if there's any shot of him being called up, because I was trying to also see when the next time I could talk to him, because the Guardians have a very strict media schedule for Travis, which they've never done for any traffic before, by the way, which tells you about the situation we're in.
About the hype.
Yes. So he's only doing pregame media Tuesdays of each homestand.
Or it will and then post game if he does something
has a great
big.
Game post game, yeah.
So like the Grand Slam, they got to do post game for.
People listening don't care about that, but how I got there was the captains go out of town this coming week, and then they come back home the following week. And I was like, all right, when can I get in here to get there on a Tuesday? And I was like, next time I can get there is August 27th. And I thought, August 27th is a while away. There's a very good chance that by August 27th, he is in Double-A. Like, I think he has to get out of High A this month in order to get to Triple-A to have a shot at the big leagues. Like, remember there's that cutoff date too, that you can call up prospects in September and they still maintain their rookie eligibility for the following year.
Yep,
so that's the date. Yeah, no, he didn't get called up in September at all.
No, that's right.
He was supposed to be on the World Series roster, but they opted against it. But they seriously considered it. So maybe I don't know. Maybe Bazzana doesn't even get up in September. Maybe he just is on the playoff roster for someone injured. Although the Rangers had real injuries, but I think he's probably got to get to AAA by like the second week of September. Maybe he comes up for the last week of the year. Remember Bo Naylor came up the last week of the year?
Yeah.
In 2022. No. He wasn't up long.
No.
So maybe, but Bo was in AAA like 80% of that year.
Yeah, like the whole year.
But he's a catcher, so catching's different.
Yeah. I think you are aiming for close to well, I think high A is the shortest one, but then I think, it's like, this is
so go see him now.
2 to 3 weeks again, or maybe they'll ignore us and he just spends the whole year in high A. Like you never can tell with this team, but you and I both think that, there is who he is as a hitter. Yeah. Who he is as a hitter isn't going to necessarily benefit from you drafted him because he should move quickly. So, 2 to 3 weeks and then about a month at the next two levels each, if he can continue to prove successful. I think that is kind of guys, it's not going to be this isn't the old days. I kind of miss the old days. I know people don't like, I like the September call up when it was like everyone and their mother got called up, because then like guys got opportunities who didn't. Like for some guys, that was their only cup of coffee, was the 40 man, expanding that.
Now it's 28, right?
It's 28, and I don't love that. I mean, maybe like, can we do something in the middle at least? Do like 34 or something? Like, I just felt like there were guys who got opportunities who are never going to get it now. And it also, I mean, it helped rest some arms, and it also helped give you a better look at a few. Like, I think the 28 was just too much. It's one of those things when I'm playing my OOTP, I change that rule. That's one of the few things I allow the trading of draft picks, and I change that rule. Those are what I go into commissioner mode to do.
Yeah. Speaking of Travis Bazzana, we'll talk real quickly about the draft money on that. We'll quickly have a note about the draft, and I think we're going to get into prospects who have been cut, so we give them their moment to shine on our podcast, because we always like to talk about the guys who at least were big deals in the organization at one time who are now looking for new work. Guys, I talked the other day about liquid IV. Today, I was at the Guardians game on Thursday, and I'm telling you, it was hot. It was muggy. Hydration was very important in the Guardians game on Thursday. When you're taking America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor. Surefire summer hit. That's a really fun flavor. Looking forward to trying that one. We're going to try a couple of them. I've had some of these in the past, though. Some of the flavors in the past. I've had acai berry, lemon lime, strawberry. They've had great flavors. Honestly, like I said, I used them a year ago before my wedding, because we had a backyard wedding and it was really hot that week. We had to do all the setup ourselves for the most part. It was exhausting. And then, of course, you had the wedding, and the next day we had to clean up. So we really had to be hydrated. We couldn't afford to be tired and just gassed from all that. So Liquid IV came in super clutch for all of that. So tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than just water alone. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That is 20% off your first order when you shop better hydration today using code MLB at liquidiv.com. And again, Guardians, 3 more games against the Baltimore Orioles. Saturday, CC Sabathia Hall of Fame night. Going to be fun to have him in town. I noticed Manny Ramirez was in town on Thursday. That was interesting. Didn't see him in the ballpark, but I saw a story on Instagram that he was there. So I wonder if he's part of this or not, because he was the last Hall of Famer inducted. So that makes sense. Victor Martinez is in town Friday night as well. So can't be there if you can't watch. Check out the action on SiriusXM. Just search Guardians. We want to quickly real hit on the fact that Travis Bazzana, all the bonuses are out. Yeah. Signing period's over. He took less to come to Cleveland. Yeah, that was announced by Kyle McDaniel. He took significantly less, I believe, to get. This is where he wanted to be. So yeah, I think that's huge. Like that he took less money to come here, I think is a real great thing. I was gonna pull up, but I think we deleted the banner that had my projections. I will say just real quickly on the draft money. Oh yeah, sorry. It's okay. Like so on top of Bazzana taking less, I was dead on Dowdy, I believe on Oki, basically all of them except for Major
and Sullivan. I was maybe a little bit off in Schlesinger, but for those who watched on draft night, day 2, that's how you come here, right? Is the knowledge. So it's not so much to brag, to be like, hey, we do know what we're talking about occasionally. But I thought money was interesting. I didn't think Major would get that much. That speaks to them really liking him, because he was not viewed that highly compared to where they drafted him, and he's going to miss the next year with an injury. So I know Justin changed tune on Aiden Major, but the biggest story with all of it is, because they essentially took all the money they didn't pay Bazzana versus Slot and gave it to Chase Mobley. And I sent that tweet out that like, hey, so this is what they did. And Chase Mobley's brother liked it. So I'm just going to take that as that's what happened. Is once they got that deal together, that Mobley was the target all along, and they took him in the 10th round there, and that was the agreement. I mean, it could be even that simple thing too. Like maybe he wanted to go in the top 10 rounds. You never know what's going to make what guys prefer.
No. Real quickly, too, we heard more about the Erick Fedde story and why he went to St. Louis and nowhere else. So I know Zach said over on Selby's Godcast that they were talking about how Cleveland was like having conversations about Fedde, and they thought maybe they had a chance until the White Sox decided they wanted to do a 3-team deal. And the Minnesota reporters were talking about how they thought the Minnesota Twins thought they had a better offer in place for him than what they ended up getting. And same with the Jack Flaherty situation. Cleveland apparently was sort of in there, but it felt like they were being used to drive up the price. My wife wanted me to put this. White Sox did not want to do a Fedde swap. Didn't want to do a Fedde swap with Cleveland. She wanted me to put that in there. I granted her wish because I thought it was clever.
She got a shout out in our comments from
she
from
did.
Brian.
Yeah, I showed her that tonight. She was very happy about that. Thought that was very kind. But just such a weird. The White Sox are a terrible franchise. I don't understand that one at all. I think Cleveland definitely could have given them a better package of players. And this comes from somebody a lot of people are kind of in the middle on Miguel Vargas, who came from the Dodgers. I like him, but like he has issues getting to power, and he doesn't really have a clear defensive home. So like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. So when you get mad Cleveland didn't do more, also consider the fact that other teams like this just made poor decisions. And Oakland with Sean Murphy, right? And Matt Olson, they took lesser deals because they wanted certain players, and look how it's turned out for them. So, it's not just Cleveland not trading guys away. It's other teams make bad decisions and don't trade with Cleveland, maybe,
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, for as much as people want to jump in about Dolan's cheap, and again, I'm not saying Dolan is a top 10 or top 5 owner or anything like that. Just remember that this is a big market team who gave away Eloy Jimenez because they didn't want to risk paying him for nothing. They took a guy. They
sent money to the Orioles too. They're sending money to the Orioles
just to save a little bit of extra money. They did that. That is how bad ownership. I mean, they had a really fun, interesting core, and then ownership jumped in and made him take a coach who should have been in the retirement home instead. And it's all been downhill since then. Like Reinsdorf is the worst, and he'll jump into our comments again. His burner account was in the comments last time
I remember that. Yeah. All right. So before we get out of here on today's show, we promised we would talk about some of the players who've been cut by Cleveland.
There's been quite a few.
And there's more cuts coming because they got to add more draft picks. So, it's always an unfortunate part of the business. And some of these guys were prospects. Some of these guys may still be. But guys, I'll point out here real quickly. Jeff has some other stuff comment on. Joe Donovan voluntarily retired. He didn't get cut, but he is supposedly taking a job with the Michigan baseball team. So he's from Michigan. Joe Donovan, I knew the instant I met him. He was a future coach. Pitchers loved working with him. They raved about him. So did the coaches. Jose Pastrana, Gabriel Rodriguez were two of the better signing bonuses in Cleveland international free agent history. Gabriel Rodriguez got the most in Cleveland history, and it just never came together for him. And I'm trying to think of anybody else in this list. I liked Angel Zarate a lot. Good defender at UNC. Thought he had good contact profile, but they were just treating him as like a 4th or 5th outfielder in the minor. So I'm not surprised, but that's such a bummer.
Yeah. I want to, I'll loop together John Doaxis and Lorenzo Sedroya, because honestly, they hadn't been here very long. Those are just kind of guys who came in and were part of the system. One of the weirdest ones to me is Gio Rivera, because they said they're releasing a Giovanni Rivera. His MLB.com page does not say he's been released though. So because that is a guy who they gave over bonus money 3 years ago and has never thrown a single pitch. He's had health issues. The team said he was released, but we have not actually seen that on his transaction, so I don't know what's going on there. If you look up Gio Rivera Jr., dude's huge. Like, I mean, he looks like he could be a pro wrestler. So I'm kind of hoping that was, I don't know what's going there. Hugo Villalobos was a fun name, but a guy who was always kind of a depth arm for the team. He was pretty solid as a reliever until this year, but, age and time caught up there. You mentioned Jose Pastrana and Gabby Rodriguez. It's just, sometimes that's why this team doesn't take a lot of big swings, is they've not had much success with that. Elvis Urias, again, a rough year this year. Urias, like he was interesting last year.
I think he was hurt.
Yeah. It was only 20 innings last year, and the year before, good data, but 23 and in Lake County. And that's unfortunate. Lexer Sade.
Let me shout out Connor Cox real quick too.
Yeah.
He was I don't know, he was part of that 20. It was 2021. I think he and Jake Fox were the only hitters in that class, if I'm right. They only took 2 hitters that year.
Yes.
Connor Cox was a college outfielder, really great kid, and really great family in general, and did a lot of things well. Good base runner, good defender, good arm. Could put up a professional plate appearance. I thought he was like a 5th outfielder type. I hope he catches on somewhere else, because he's a really good kid, and I think he's got a very scrappy game. They could make it to the big leagues as a 5th outfielder.
So to go back to Lexer Sadi, like, he was a backup the whole time, and it's just a situation where you're going to get squeezed out. Never really, bat wasn't there. I think he got a decent amount back in his day. They love those players from Venezuela. Jordan Jones had been in Akron 3 years running. Writing was on the wall. He was a good organizational soldier for them. But yeah, I mean, he got to Akron in 2022 and basically stayed there. Again, another guy where, he had great numbers a year ago, but there just wasn't quite enough. And then
same with Jaime Arias.
Jaime Arias, again, organizational soldier, but missed all of last year due to steroid suspension, and that really hurt. He was kind of moving into that whole role like Tanner Tully had before him. And then Ethan Hankins was like, oh, all you need to know, I know people, listen, when he is out of professional baseball for a year, maybe we'll start telling stories. But when a guy is healthy and sent away by the team, that says all you need to know. So it was quite a run for Hankins here.
Yeah, that was definitely a thing that happened for a couple of years, was that Ethan Hankins pitched for the Guardians organization.
Him and Carson Tucker, we have some funny stories for a few years
eventually,
in the future. So.
Another day.
Tune in.
Monday.
Tuning in forever to get to those.
Yeah, it'll be a while on that one. Monday, we'll wrap up the series against Baltimore. Again, Cleveland only needs 1 win to clinch the season series and have a tiebreaker against them, because we talked on Thursday's show about the importance of the #1 seed, or just the first round bye in general. We'll talk more about Matt Boyd. I didn't spell Matt Boyd right. If you're looking on YouTube, I spelled Matt Boyd. Matt Boyd, who rehabbed
on the side. Sorry.
Yeah, really good. And then Alex Cobb is going to interview with the Guardians media on Friday. We'll hear some quotes from that, and we'll talk about that. Jeff has a theory on the Alex Cobb player named later trade.
We got 2 tinfoil hat theories.
Yeah, so stay tuned for more tinfoil hat theories from Jeff. And then we also want to get into which other prospects in the organization need promoted besides Travis Bazzana. That'll be coming up next week probably, as well, as we'll have a lot to talk about Monday. So thank you guys all for the great numbers this week. We appreciate you all tuning in. Shout out to Guards Graphics on Twitter, who was telling us about maybe an audio issue today, but he said, he's an everydayer, loves it. Great show. So we've had a lot of great everydayers checking in this week. Hopefully I'll be in Lake County Friday, if not Sunday. So if you're around Lake County Friday or Sunday, I'll let you know if I'm there. Hit me up and say hi.
Again, we want to thank you all for joining us. The support this week has been unbelievable. If you want a second listen, I'm going to be on Locked On Rays pretty soon, so you can go check out Locked On Rays as a second listen in network. I'm going to talk about their draft, so that is a fun discussion I had today. Or you can go check out Locked On Padres, where I also had a recent draft discussion-based show. Again, big thank you to all of you. You are all fantastic. We appreciate all of the support. It's been overwhelming, but keep doing it, please. We still need it. And thank you all, and go Guardians, go.